Happy New Year, Renegade Nation! Before we begin the video, I'd like to give a big shout out to our most recent Patreon supporters, Lazy Scorpio, Shadow X Killers, John, Jason McDonald, Shavdar Savov, Chris, Cesar Salazar, Dale Joseph Harden, Ronnie Powell, Tyrant, Carlos Alberto Calderon, Joe Nathan Young, Cayman Thibodeau, and Dodo Bird 25. Thank you all very much for your support, and if you want to support us on Patreon, feel free to click the link down below to find out more. We'll see you there. The Cabin in the Woods. We actually reacted to it last year for 13 Nights of the 13 Nights of Spoop, back when we were still doing Spoopstober.
You did.
Yeah, me and Quinn and Kyra, I think, was with us with that one.
Well, I will always watch it again. I have seen it like fucking 12 times because it's one of my favorite horror comedies of all time.
Yeah, it's really good, and it has some of the most hilarious references, some of the most hilarious lines. And all around, the self-referentialness, a lot of people are turned off by it. I loved it.
Yeah,
I loved that it was just like the most deliberate setup for a horror movie. The Cabin in the Woods.
It was,
but
not
yet
taking
it was anything
itself
but
seriously, and yet it was at the same time. And like, I love stuff like that can do that.
Well, it toes the line. It toes the line very well between campy and serious.
It's like, that's
and
why
maintaining
back in
such
the
a great
MySpace
tone.
days, like, I know they had like a lot of hate, but they had a lot of love too. But I hopped on the love train for Hollywood Undead.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, I really appreciate the fact that this band both takes themselves seriously and yet doesn't, all at the same time.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
they don't at all.
And Cabin in the Woods has, developed a cult status over time and is now seen as one of like the most surreal horror films of all time, simply because of how it pretty much calls out all the cliches and everything in horror films, in which a lot of people consider this to be like a progenitor for some of the more modern horror films that we've seen. Get Out, for instance.
Because it's almost like people kind of like took this into account when they started making their horror films. Like, let's take this as a lesson.
Yes.
And be like, let's see if we can break away from all the things that this is definitely pointing out that fucking every horror film does.
Well, yeah, Get Out, A Quiet Place, and several others have taken note. And horror films are actually on the rise in terms of their quality again, and I'm liking that. I'm liking that.
I'm super excited because there was a while there where I'm like, it just really sucks at like the super minimal number of good horror films that are coming out.
Unfriended is another one too.
Like I said, I was really
the Unfriended movies were really good.
I was really hoping for like a horror movie revolution in terms of like comedians making horror films, because it just seemed obvious that comedians could just make fucking terrifying stuff.
His reference to that being that of Jordan Peele and John Krasinski, because like, Peele is, infamous for, famous for his Key and Peele, and John Krasinski being on The Office and being.
Then I got really disappointed by Us, because the trailer for Us made it look like something really different from what it actually turned out to be.
Yeah, what it
turned out to be was not nearly as terrifying as what it looked like it could have been.
Yeah.
So
if you ask me what it could have been, was effectively us fighting like the darker side of ourselves. Yeah. That's what I think it could have been, but instead they tried to tie all this stuff into it that honestly it felt flat to me whenever they explained what the hell the tethers were.
It was one of those cases too where he almost just explained too much.
Yeah.
Like, it gave an explanation for almost everything that was going on in it before the end of it. And one of the things about horror, as proven originally by one of the progenitors of horror and modern horror, H.P. Lovecraft, is that the fear of the unknown is one of the strongest fears that we have.
Yes.
And if you give away too much and if you explain too much in a movie, it just loses its chill factor. Like,
yeah.
So that was one of my main problems with it, is like he went way too into detail with what exactly was going on in the movie without leaving any mystery to it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but it was still neat. It just wasn't like Get Out, where it's like, even though he explained basically everything going on in Get Out, it was like, it was okay because the concept that he had come up with in itself was unique and terrifying enough that that concept being explained to you is just like, ugh.
There was still enough. Horrifying. Yeah, there was still enough there in terms of its narrative, but it didn't feel overwhelming. It didn't feel like it was trying to hit you over the head with symbolism. like the symbolism was there, but you could take it as you see it. It wasn't something. It was just like, oh, there you go. That's what that means. And we're just like, dude, come on. If we wanted to, we could have figured it out, because the internet is available to us, and there's going to be people who break this film down section by section by section by section by section, piece by piece by piece by piece by piece, and they're going to siphon through it, and they're going to find what every little thing means. Literally.
Like, it didn't make you think. It just kind of like told you what to think. Basically.
Yeah.
And that was my problem with
it. Whereas Get Out, you were allowed to think whatever the hell you wanted. And then when
you start thinking about it, it gets scarier and scarier. So,
yes. Whereas us, it was just like you start asking more questions instead of being frightened. You're just like, wait, then how the hell does this work? Or how does that work?
I didn't even find myself doing that. I was just like, all right, that wasn't what I thought it was going to be, and it wasn't very scary. So
fair enough. But all right. Well, we got the
Cabin in the Woods.
Cabin in the Woods. Speaking
of
channels that break it down.
Like, before that era of, like, you know, the new movies that, like, I was really stoked about, Cabin in the Woods is a nod to all the movies that I liked from middle school onward. Well, and it's just like, oh, yeah.
It's a nod to...
It's like the ultimate, like, fan horror film, basically.
It is. It's a nod and a little bit of a jest, like a little bit of an elbow nudge at all of the slasher films from like the 1970s and 80s, all the way up until the modern day, like, because there's still classic slashers out there and everything, but it's you know, you have your horror movie gods, you know, like the Freddy Kruegers, the Jason Voorhees, the Michael Myers, the Pinheads, the you know, you
Leatherface.
Leatherface. You have all of them, you know, the upper echelons, and now you're seeing new things come to light, and I think this is where a lot of people realized we really got to start thinking outside the box more if we're going to start scaring people again. And let's see what.
At the very least, you have to be kind of like James Wan and be like, I'm going to jump scare people, but I'm going to make sure they don't see it coming.
Yes. Well, and then Cabin in the Woods by Drew Goddard and written by Drew Goddard and Joss Whedon. Let's see what happens, and let's see what James has got to say about this in this kill count.
Welcome to the Kill Count, where we tally up the victims in all our favorite horror movies. I'm James A. Janice, and today we're looking at The Cabin in the Woods, which premiered at South by Southwest in 2012.
Oh, yeah.
It's worth keeping in mind that this was filmed in 2009. Just remember that the years in Kill Count titles are based on the movie's world premiere, which is why you may see discrepancies sometimes. Cabin in the Woods is a horror comedy that manages to satire the entire genre with equal amounts of love and laughs. In fact, one of my favorite things about it is how it could almost canonically explain every other horror movie you've ever watched. Like, they could all feasibly exist in the same world as Cabin. I'll try to point out how throughout this video. You'll see. Cabin was co-written by Joss Whedon and Drew Goddard, who then produced and directed the film respectively. Whedon is of course known for everything from Buffy the Vampire Slayer to the, in my opinion, overly snappy dialogue of the Avengers films.
That man is playing Galaga.
Didn't think we would notice, but we did.
While Goddard is responsible for things like the Netflix Daredevil series and Bad Times at the El Royale. Their script follows a group of kids who turn into stereotypes during their stay at the titular Cabin in the Woods. If you've never seen it before, you should probably go watch it right now unspoiled and come back later to finish this video. Because shit
Do not watch this
crazy.
video without
Let's
watching this movie first. You are cheating the fuck out of yourself.
Entire genre
Yes.
and get to the kills. The movie begins with some bloody hieroglyphics that preview the grand scheme of this movie before cutting to a coffee card. It's a regular day at the office for Gary Sitterson, played by Richard Jenkins, and Steve Hadley, played by Bradley Whitford. Last seen on the kill count is the dad in Get Out, who would have voted for Obama a third time if he could have. A co-worker, Wendy Lynn, informs
I forgot about him being the dad
in
in Get Out.
South, which is going to increase the pressure on them.
That means there's just Japan. Japan and us.
Well, it's not the first time it's come down to that. Japan has a perfect record. We're number 2. We try harder.
We don't know exactly what they're talking about yet, but maybe we're just not paying enough attention.
But it's fucking great,
I
so
know.
just wait.
Title card!
Oh, I am now. We go to a whoop.
Okay, I know the reference they're talking to, Japan has a perfect record, and they don't. They make references to it throughout the film, and I know the film they're talking about. I know the movie they're talking about.
It's not just a movie; it's movies.
Well, no. There's only one, but there's one film where there's one instance they failed and they blame it on the chem department. Let's just keep going. Sorry.
A suitcase in her underwear. This is Dana Polk.
She looked good in her underwear too.
Trying to get over a recently terminated affair she had been having with a professor. Her newly blonded bestie Jules tells her she needs to get over it because they're about to go on a camping trip with a cute guy named Holden, who's a friend of Jules's boyfriend Kurt. Both the guys are athletic young lads and pretty charming to boot, just like the rest of this cast. And Kurt's no dummy either, since we see him recommend a heady textbook for Dana to use before reminding
Also, why does he
her
remind
of her
me of
current
Thor?
attire.
And you have no pants.
Oh,
Since
That's not-
Kevin was
that's not-
filmed in 2009,
He's
You
not
what?
related to
What?
the dude who plays Thor.
That is Thor.
It is.
That's Chris Hemsworth.
That's
dude.
what I thought.
Yeah, Jesus.
I wasn't
man.
ever sure that was him, and I missed it in the fucking credits, but I thought that was Chris Hemsworth. If not, it was his fucking brother or
What,
something.
Liam?
So without the full beard and shit, it's like
yeah, and the-
you know,
and the
I wasn't
hair,
sure, but I was like,
yeah.
that looks fucking a lot like him.
Yeah, that's Chris.
So yeah, okay, good. I'm
Okay.
glad I'm not just weird.
No, you're not weird. It's just we all have moments.
It was before Chris Hemsworth was even cast as Thor,
Okay,
but
there you
it didn't come out until 2012, 1 year after Thor's release. I always find that kind of funny. As they finish packing up their RV, they're joined by Dana's younger brother Marty, the most stonery stoner you could ever find in Stonerton.
People in this town drive in a very counterintuitive manner.
And yes, his
I love
telescopic
that
bong
line.
that can disguise
That is
itself
what I
as a
feel like
furnace
about
is
everyone who
in fact
drives
behind me
here.
on the kill count set. Editor Zoran provided both that and that kick-ass painting there. Thanks, Z-Man.
Hey everyone, so a minute ago I introduced Marty as Dana's younger brother, but turns out
No.
they're not siblings at all. I don't know why I
No.
thought they were for the past 7 years, but yeah, they're not brother and sister, they're just friends. Unfortunately, I do refer to them as siblings throughout the entire duration of this kill count. So, you know, just ignore that as you're watching it, okay? They're not siblings, they're just friends. I know that now, even though I didn't then. Alright, thanks. Let's get back to past James.
Fair enough. Everybody makes mistakes.
Yeah,
sometimes. We do
everybody does
too.
make mistakes, and I'm glad he's rectifying this here and now, and it's not like a post.
Like me, not knowing that was Chris Hemsworth.
Hey, yeah, everybody makes
Sufficiently
mistakes.
pumped, they head out on their adventure, and the first indication that something weird is afoot is this secret agent man on the rooftop who
Secret
watches them drive away.
agent man.
We're right on time.
On their way to Kurt's cousin's cabin, Marty delivers an outlook on society that only sounds more relevant 10 years after this
The one
movie
thing
was shot.
I've always wondered about this movie.
Okay,
though.
what?
Kurt's cousin. Does he work for the organization, and that's how he got them to the cabin?
Man, I don't know. Because they actually make a reference to that near the end of the film. I don't even think Kurt has a cousin.
Yeah, it's fucking weird.
It is. No, it is.
Yeah.
Well, they have manipulation techniques where they're able to incentivize the people into doing stupid things. I don't know how it all works, but
Filed or recorded, blogged.
That kind of thinking is why he's excited to go off the grid for the weekend. Only he might not be as off the grid as he'd hoped, because in an underground control center, after meeting the new security guard, Daniel Truman, Hadley and Sitterson get to
Brian
work
J.
and
White.
lock in on their targets, the kids in their RV. They stop at a gas station that you'd fully expect to sell prize-winning human jerky. It's run by a creepy mofo named Mordecai who spits gay slurs at him and is generally antagonistic as hell. His gas station is meant to be the archetypal stop we've seen in countless
Yeah,
horror
it
movies. So
is.
it's fun that
Yep.
actor Kim Desami here had previously been part of the Texas Chainsaw franchise. He was the guy who owned the slaughterhouse in which
Hey!
Leatherface was born in the, what was that, the second Texas Chainsaw timeline? Yeah, the Arlie
Yeah,
Ermy.
the
kids
beginning,
continue
the Arlie
on
Ermy
to a
one.
scenic mountain road and into a tunnel, not realizing that the tunnel is taking them underneath some kind of force field situated over this ravine. They arrive at
no,
the
that was
cabin
an
in the
eagle.
woods,
Or a
which,
hawk,
like the
rather.
gas station, is supposed to be
Still
pretty
love the fact that
archetypal,
Quinn missed
but
that
takes its
eagle
most
slamming
direct
into that.
influence from the cabin in
And
the
had
Evil
no
Dead
clue
series.
whenever
It's
he was
shot
jumping the
same
bike.
way, has the same
That's
kind of
right.
construction.
Oh, that's right. I remember that.
That was fantastic.
Okay, when we reacted to this back last year, Quinn didn't see the hawk fly into the thing, and I didn't notice it. I didn't notice that had happened, and then all of a sudden later on, when Kurt was trying to jump over, Quinn's reaction. I'll actually see if I can time that up to when it happens in this.
All right.
I'll see it like
whereas
that way
Evil
people
Dead
can
was
see
filmed
it
in the woods
and
of
just be
Tennessee,
amazed by
Cabin
Quinn's
was made in
reaction.
Vancouver. Canadian tax breaks, man. They let
Yeah.
themselves in and make themselves
Canucks
at
in
home, although
there.
some of the bedroom decor is a little too extra for Holden.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Turns out that Zoran-owned painting was covering up a one-way
Whoop.
mirror, which can also be called a two-way mirror. That's fucking stupid as hell. It immediately creates an awkward situation that appropriately feels right out of a movie.
Nope.
This is happening.
But Holden is a decent guy and informs
Yes.
Dana about it, even offering to switch rooms with her to make her feel more comfortable. I will note that he starts stripping pretty much immediately after he gets in there, though. I see what you're doing there, dude. As does everyone
Trying to
in
show off
Hadley
the
and
goods,
Thurston's
huh?
lab, since they're
Well,
observing
if I had a
things
six-pack
on
like that, I'd show it
monitors
off,
in the
too.
control center. This is when we start to understand the horror movie making operation going on down here. For instance, Wendy is part of this place's chemicals department and offers a way to make this situation more slashery.
We're recommending a 50 milligram bump of rohyptase to increase libido.
She even says they've been gradually slowing down Jules's cognition through her new hair dye.
Dumb blonde. Very artistic.
But not every aspect of their job is enjoyable, because they've occasionally got to deal with phone calls from Mordecai, who's known as the Harbinger, and who takes his job way too seriously.
Cleanse them. Cleanse the world of their ignorance and sin.
Am I on
Bathe
speakerphone?
them in the crimson of... Am I on speakerphone?
No, absolutely not. Speakerphone, no, I wouldn't do that.
Yes, I am. I can hear the echo.
The scenes with Jenkins and Whitford are my favorite parts of the movie, mostly because of their amazing comedic ability.
Yes.
The ancient ones see everything, and they will not be... I'm still on speakerphone, aren't I?
And it looks like both actors kept the funny stuff going on set, even when they weren't shooting scenes for the movie.
They always say movie food is not edible.
As the kids have
It's
a laughing mess of
It's not.
the lake, the folks in the lab begin taking bets by department. As audience members, we're still a bit in the dark as to what they're doing down here. But Truman expresses trepidation over gambling on what happens to the teens, especially with the control center technicians affecting everything so much. Sitterson tells him not to worry, though.
They have to make the choice of their own free will. Otherwise, the system doesn't work. Yeah, we rig the game as much as we need to, but in the end, they don't transgress.
They can't be punished.
So that means no harm in having a little fun while they monitor the situation. The
Yeah.
kids start to party too, and under the chem department's influence, Jules is acting much more sexual than usual, going all out after Marty dares her to make out with a wolf head on the wall. Since they weren't allowed to use an actual taxidermied wolf head, I don't know, is that a Canadian law or something? Effects artist Dave Anderson had to make a synthetic, removable, washable tongue out of silicone that was dusted with powdered sugar. So hey, at least that thing was
Oh,
tasty
sweet.
for actor Anna Hutchison. The cellar door suddenly erupts open, again taking after Evil Dead, and we see that Kurt is no longer the genius he was shown to be earlier.
The wind must have blown it open.
That makes what kind of sense?
They descend into the cellar, where, by
Yeah.
flashlight beam, they find a whole bunch of creeptastic keepsakes. Creepsakes?
Not sure it's awesome to be down here.
Marty's uncertainty doesn't stop him
The
from
fact-
being drawn towards old
like-
project.
Yet again, if you haven't seen this movie, stop watching this now, please.
Yes.
Go watch this movie first.
Yes.
Spoilers to the max. I'm starting them now. Okay, right? Like the fact that this basement is entirely filled with like all these different things.
Yes.
And the first thing that they fuck with in the wrong way starts it up. Like it's just like it's fucking genius, man. Like,
Yes.
It's really, really cool how they set this all up, and the idea behind it is just fucking amazing. Like, for being something that initially sets itself up to look like the most stereotypical thing of all time, the concept is goddamn genius, and
Yes,
I
it
fucking
is.
love it.
Yes. I love it too.
Film, though, as the others are equally attracted towards artifacts like a necklace near a wedding dress, a conch shell, a
I wonder what
ballerina
happens if
music
like they
box, and a
simultaneously did like a bunch of them at the same time, if they would be on set by like pinhead demons and like fucking dragons,
Pinhead
and
demons and
mermaids,
yeah,
and
the
Cannibal
mermaid.
Chainsaw family, you know, like all at the same time.
Yeah, I can imagine it.
It's like whatever he's fucking with right there looks like he got real close to fucking with it.
Because it looks like a puzzle cube.
Yeah, it's like a lament configuration, basically.
Yeah, and if
I bet you anything that's the pinhead guy. Like
it is. It is because he's the one who holds the thing up later.
Yeah. That's
it's
what
like
I was thinking.
It's like you solve it, you have to he challenges you to solve another one, and if you can't solve that one, he'll kill you.
This is not for your eyes.
Yeah. Sorry, but
Jesus wept.
Puzzle lore, but it's a diary that Dana reads that gets their full attention first. It was written by one Anna Patience Buckner in 1903, and in it, she talks about living in hardship with overly religious, abusive parents. If only Patience Buckner had a black Phillip. But she didn't, so Patience wound up with a hacked-off arm courtesy of her father, meaning she was barely able to finish writing down a passage in Latin that she says would restore her family's spirits. There's some debate as to whether or not Dana should read the passage.
Don't read it. Don't read it.
Do not read the Latin.
But the whispers went out that she says the words.
Friggin' Marty.
Out of the woods, unbeknownst to the kids, a few newly reanimated corpses begin digging themselves out of their graves and making their way towards the cabin.
We have a winner.
A bunch of people lose their breath.
The Buckners, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep, the teens have just
Redneck
unwittingly
zombie.
picked their
I love
adversaries
pausing
for the
this
movie, and
scene.
looks like the main
Yeah, right here.
Like, and reading the fucking
Yeah.
board. Werewolf, alien beast, mutants, race, zombies, reptilians, clowns,
witches, sexy witches.
Sexy witches.
I love that.
Specifically sexy witches.
Yeah.
That would be the one I would hope that I would
Demons,
get.
Hell Lord, Angry Molesting Tree.
If I'm ever gonna die horribly, yeah, that's
Evil Dead
as fuck. But
Giant Snake.
if I'm
Deadites.
ever gonna die,
Deadites. The Deadites are there.
The Deadites are literally listed too.
Yeah. Kevin. Mummy.
Kevin.
Yeah, Kevin.
I assume that's like a child doll or something.
Yeah, we see him later.
Yeah.
We see him later. The Bride. Scarecrow Folk.
The Snowman.
The Snowman, the Dragon Bat, the Vampires, Dismemberment Goblins, Sugar Plum Fairy, the Merman.
Yep.
Oh, the Merman. I was so sad about
Reanimated.
on the work wager.
Yeah.
If we could just pause for a minute and appreciate
he does
what we're
too.
looking at here. Each one of the monsters on this whiteboard, from zombies and clowns to snowmen and unicorns, could have become the enemies of our victims.
Jack-o'-lantern, giant
on which
twins.
item they activated.
Wait, if
So
I'm
you
gonna
can
die
imagine
horribly,
the
I hope it's by
characters
sexy
say
witches.
Jack
Same
Frost,
here,
somehow
same here.
Okay with
activating
that.
the snowman
Yeah.
monster and thus having to fight his annoying ass. Since Dana read from the Buckner diary, she and the others are gonna have to deal with the redneck torture zombie family. And don't get them mistaken with run-of-the-mill zombies. They're a very specific breed.
Like the difference between an elephant and an elephant seal.
Wendy tells Truman that all of the available monsters are remnants of the old world, supplied by powerful beings below. And naturally, the longtime technicians have developed favorites. Hadley's still holding out for a merman.
He had the conch in his
You
hands.
know, in a couple more minutes, who knows what might have happened.
Sitterson tells Hadley that mermen are messy. Be happy with the Buckners. They do have a 100% clearance rate, just like the team over in Japan, who's still keeping up their end of the bargain with a Samara-type ghost demon tormenting a group of grade school girls. At the cabin, each person falls more and more into their stereotype.
Man has a
Jules can't
100%
stop
record
flaunting
just
her
because there's like so many
sexuality.
things in their
Kurt's being a
movies that
jockey
just can't be
joy.
beat.
Dana's looking
Yeah.
pretty demure, and Holden's adopted some smart guy glasses to better read the Latin in Patience's diary. Only Marty seems like his regular old self still.
I have a theory about all this.
He tries to tell his sister that everyone's acting weird,
there it is
but
again.
she dismisses his theory as leaf-derived, and he retires to go to his room. Kurt and Jules are playing woodsy grab-ass when he suggests they go all the way. She's reluctant at first, much to the chagrin of the pencil-necked audience, but with an increase of the temperature and the pumping in of some pheromones, Jules decides, you know what, this does look like a great place to get their grind on. Once
Great
again,
place to
Kevin offers
bone.
an explanation for a genre-wide trope. This could be why so many slasher victims act so stupid and horny all the time. Cause trust me, partner, these two are horny, which Sitterson says is good for their audience, whoever that may be. Their audience is also into blood, so it's a good thing the Buckners are here. They stab Kurt with a sharp tool, then take him down with a bear trap on a chain, which is then used to reel in Jules for the first kill of the movie. When these Buckner Buckner bastards take a big ol' rusty saw and use it to cut her frickin' head off. Down in the lab, her death is met with quiet reverence as the technicians make an offering. They pull a handle, break a vial, and pour out some blood for their homies. Y'all collecting blood there, fellas? What you doing with all that blood? Kurt gets back to the cabin and tells everyone what happened to Jules.
She's gone.
And if they needed any proof, well, here's her head. Huh, she doesn't look so blonde right now. They lock out the
covered in
Buckners
blood
and make plans to stick together, but that'd be too difficult for the puppet masters watching. So they pump in more stupid gas until Kurt decides that splitting up is the smarter idea.
Wait.
You can cover more ground that way.
Yeah, sounds
good
right.
idea.
They
Split up,
retreat to their
gang.
rooms where they're locked
Freddy?
inside. and
Zoinks,
where
I don't
Marty
think
finds
that's such a
them
good
that
idea.
They're being watched. Before he can figure out exactly what's going on, though, Judah Buckner crashes through the window and pulls him outside. He throws half a garden shear into Marty's back and drags him below ground. And the technicians celebrate another sacrifice by pulling the handle and getting their blood fountain going again. Something's weird about this one, though, because it leaves the entire earth shaking. Dana and Holden manage to get together and make their way underneath the cabin into the Black Room, the place where Papa Buckner killed his kids. It's also where Matthew Buckner tries to kill Holden right now. Dana fights off the Mother Buckner with a crowbar to the face, which was done in a relatively simple but awesome way. Half a crowbar was guided by a chroma green rail into actor Dan Payne's face, with the crowbar's tip and blood effects getting added through CG later.
I'm just trying to make my mom proud, man. She proud of me right now?
Yeah, oh yeah.
That's
I mean,
balling.
she should be proud. The Buckners are an integral part to this movie, and it apparently took each of them 6 hours to get ready. That's a lot of time in the makeup chair. Dana gets some bonus stabs in with a knife, but doesn't hold on to the weapon when she's done, thanks to fuckery from the techs who are displeased with how this night is going.
Remember when you could just throw a girl in a volcano?
Kurt meets up with them, and as they escape from the storm cellar, he tells Dana that Marty didn't make it. After a quick beat of sadness, the kids are back aboard the RV and squealing wheels to get out of here. Speaking of squealing, the Japanese ghost demon is going off like a teapot right now, because apparently those kids were able to turn the tide and turn her into a frog.
そして今、キコの魂はこのカエルの中で幸せに生き続けていく。
Aw, good for them. Citizen's not a fan, though.
Fuck you!
This and the Argentine.
I love that. I love that scene so much.
Yes. To appease the big guys downstairs and their own director above. Wendy stresses to them that they're humanity's last hope to keep the ancients from rising. But right now, they can't talk. The kids are busting ass out of there. Thankfully for the technicians, Sitterson runs down to the demolitions department and successfully blows up the tunnel, which causes a cave-in that sends the RV right back from whence it came. They find themselves trapped on the wrong side of the ravine, but Kurt the Daredevil thinks he can jump it on his bike. He delivers a passionate hero speech.
I'm coming back with cops and choppers and large fucking guns, and those things are gonna pay.
Gives the jump his all. And you know what? I think that guy might actually make it.
Nope!
No fucking way was he gonna make it, dog. Don't y'all remember that bird? It was a valiant but ultimately futile effort. All it accomplished was giving the guys downstairs some more blood.
I'm sorry, Quinn. I'm gonna have to play that right now.
I'm still trying to decide if this is a good thing or a bad thing.
Yes! Yes! Earlier in the film. Oh my god. Yes! 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 I love it! Oh god, she's gonna pass out. Breathe, Heather, breathe. Oh my god, I am so sorry. Too good. Okay, sorry about that, everybody.
Dana and Holden head back in the RV, but they've barely touched the gas pedal when Holden gets stabbed through the neck. Damn! I guess Father Buckner was stowing away in the RV. Always check those back seats, kids. The RV crashes into a lake, and as Dana makes her way out and up to the surface, the technicians start celebrating because they've won. Mission accomplished. It's okay if the virgin of the group lives. After all, the final girl often does. She just had to have suffered and outlived all the others. As Hadley watches Dana swim to safety, he begins to realize that he's grown pretty damn fond of her.
Think of all that pain and the punk. Tequila is my lady!
Never mind, it's tequila time!
My man.
Clear the bar and get Pee-wee some platform shoes. As Dana is attacked by Matthew Buckner, the biggest and scariest redneck torture zombie, the technicians impassively celebrate their success, no longer concerned with her fate. It's some splendid dark comedy, how banal their office party is. In fact, the control room and cabin was based on Drew Goddard's upbringing in Los Alamos, New Mexico, where the Manhattan Project took place. The people working here were meant to be like the people who developed the atomic bomb. They were handling enormous destructive power with an objective of keeping people safe.
The downstairs is very much influenced by what I saw every day, which is some of the smartest men and women in the world going about their lives in just the most simple and mundane way, but they were going to work every day to make weapons that would destroy the world.
Hadley's still a bit bummed that they had to rely on the Buckners.
I just think it would have been cooler with a merman.
But he's about to get a whole lot more upset thanks to a scary red phone ringing.
Turn the fucking music off.
It's their director upstairs who tells Hadley that one of the other kids is still alive. And if Dana gets killed before they do, why that's gonna result in an apocalyptic failure. She comes real close to getting killed by Matty Buck there until his attack gets thwarted by a telescopic bomb. Because Marty is still alive. I know, you knew. He and Dana get away from the redneck zombie and he takes her down into the Buckner grave. It's where the Buckners came from and where Marty had to chop up Judah Buckner with a trowel. It's also where Marty has discovered an elevator.
Somebody sent those dead fucks up here to get us.
With nowhere else to go, the siblings decide to take the elevator down. It begins its descent and then moves along a few other axes
Here we
until
go.
they come face to face with a werewolf. Bad dog, bad dog. When they change the channel, they get to a scary ghost mist, and further exploration of their cell neighbors yield a Langolier that became a ballerina, and Pinhead's older cousin who found the lament configuration too square. Dana figures everything out. She sees this dude's puzzle orb.
We chose. They made us choose how we die.
Yep, all these monsters correspond with the trinkets in the cellar, and also with the names on the whiteboard in the lab. For instance, Sawhead here is a Hell Lord, and that ballerina is the Sugar Plum Fairy. Oh, and peep that angry molesting tree up there. That's another Evil Dead nod. Dana
and the Deadites. Don't forget about the Deadites, James. They were down there too.
Anger as their elevator is placed among an Indiana Jones archive of all the evil options they could have potentially chosen. Some of
there's
those
the big
right
snake,
off the
there's the
bat,
clown, there's the
Brady
twins.
Girls looking pair.
Hey,
And the
there's a Shining reference.
That kind of looked like the tethered, prescient. This image of all these glass
Wait, what?
elevators.
What?
That does kind of look like the tethered. What the?
From what?
From Us.
Oh.
Holy shit.
Yeah, but Us is way fucking after that.
I know. That's weird.
Yeah.
That kind of looked like the tethered, prescient. This image of all these glass cube elevators is one of the coolest shots of the movie.
Yes.
And was also a total pain in the ass to do. Production designer Martin Wist had to design the cubes in a mathematical way that would allow them to realistically slide around and fit in with one another. Then, the digital effects team at Rhythm and Hue Studio, led by Todd Shiflett, used the AI software Massive, which generates 3D crowd effects, to make a sort of brain that kept each of the individual elevators aware of where the others were. The contents of the elevators were shot in front of green screens and filled with all the fantastical monsters production could come up with. They had boxes of various sizes that allowed them to do cool perspective
This
stuff,
and
like
a scene
making
coming up
regular
are like
call-
two of my absolute favorite scenes from anything ever. Like number 1 and number 2. Like this is number 2. Like out of like my absolute favorite
I think I
scenes
know
from
the
any
shot
film
coming
ever.
up that you
Yes.
love.
Yeah.
I think I know
I
it.
bet you do.
Dude appeared to be a giant.
There was a standing box on a set that if something was ready, you take it out there and they'd shoot it and, you know, put zombies in there.
Yeah,
They had a
there's the
mini one,
zombies.
put bugs in there, put my head in one, like a floating
Other monsters shot in these boxes include an adorable little kid with a hatchet, some things that look like they rolled in from Jabba's palace, and their clan members.
Oh!
I didn't actually realize
I didn't
that.
realize the clan was there.
Damn.
What the fuck?
Whoa. Okay.
Dark
shit.
Their subjects on their way out of Plato's cave, the technicians are freaking out. They stress to their security team that they have to take out Marty before Dana, otherwise the mission fails. Oh, and in case you want to know why Marty was immune to the chem team's efforts,
Whatever he's been smoking's been immunizing him to all our shit.
hashtag legalize it. Their elevator stops.
Smoke
and
weed
a
every
guard
day.
tries to apprehend
Smoke
them,
weed
but he's
every day,
thwarted by the
day,
zombie
day.
arm of the Buckner Marty dismembered. The kids bang the guy's head against the wall, then take off, leaving the zombie arm behind to get the double tap in the elevator. As the siblings make their way through pristine hallways, the director's voice comes over a loudspeaker and tells them to stop fucking with the system.
What's happening to you is part of something bigger, something older than anything known.
She speaks in Lovecraftian terms and says they need to placate the Ancient Ones or else there will be unworldly terror unleashed upon the Earth. But Dana and Marty ain't buying it, and instead they head into a control room and hide. Under a hail of gunfire,
Here we go.
Dana decides to fight
this
fire
it?
with Nightmare.
Ah, I
and goes to
knew
evacuate
it.
The elevator
This is
full
the
of
best fucking scene from any movie ever.
Yep,
System
they're getting the
purge,
party
bitch.
started. And let me tell you, I find it pretty funny that the button she's pushing right there says purge on it. Because that's exactly what I was reminded of while kill counting the rest of this movie. We start with the 11 security guards standing there as an army of monsters descends upon them.
Yes.
By all sorts
Just
of things.
a cavalcade of
Zombies,
death.
Evil Autobots. It's a complete fucking mess. It
Yeah.
was so much of a mess that, much like the boxes full of monsters, they needed a lot of digital pre-visualization to make it come together. Each individual kill was first created in its own digital layer to help make sense of its place amidst the chaos.
The attention to detail for you to be able to go back and pause, rewind, and go back and watch it again.
That's
a different
why it's
security
such
guard.
a fucking amazing
It is.
scene.
It is. The level and layers of detail that are
Like,
in this
all
shot
these dudes
alone.
die in like 3 seconds from like a different monster. It's
Giant
fucking
snake,
insane.
a wraith, or a friggin' wraith coming in, stealing a guy's soul and carrying it off for the camera, and a friggin' evil robot coming in and just
Giant fucking snake like coming out and constricting a dude and biting his head off.
a fucking giant molesting tree coming out and stabbing a dude and
Yeah,
pulling him
just,
in.
like fucking snatching a guy.
Yes!
It's sick. It's a sick
awesome.
ass scene.
Love this scene so much.
I was like
in front of
so giddy when I saw that fucking scene go down. I was just like,
Most of them with practical
Oh, yeah, the
coolest
blood
thing I've ever
splatter.
seen.
Oh, and the evil demon, yeah.
the fucking Flappy Bird thing.
There he is back there.
This movie is
like
messy
the
as
giant
fuck
bat.
too, man. So please be lenient with me as I do my kill.
I am
count
very
best.
lenient with you,
'Cause,
James.
like, here,
Go
man,
for
a
it.
bunch of new guards find the zombies eating leftovers before the elevator.
And that
being
seems
opened
great,
again.
too.
And
Just-
a whole bunch of
Them just being
offspring
like, hey,
mayhem
what's
that
up?
I can't count. The best I can do here is count this detached arm as a person and this one dude who gets killed by an alien bug. Those two are pretty safe bets. There's a long shot of chaos in the hallway here, but I only see 6 confirmed kills, 5 background bodies, and this one dude who gets tossed into the jaws of a giant snake. Pretty cool. Wide shots of the control center bunker were filmed at the Institute of Technology's aerospace campus near Vancouver, which was actually a bigger space than they had planned for. That meant they had to fill the unexpected volume with digital creations like the giant snake. And that went against what Drew Goddard wanted at first.
We had a rule on Cabin, which was if you can do it practically without visual effects, then we're going to do it that way. And that's really the sort of rule that only you make if you're a first-time filmmaker, because it's so naive.
There's the
Because
merman.
you realize after you do it, the reason we have visual effects is because they make your life so much easier.
I really appreciate
They make
that
it
Goddard and
easier,
his
but they
crew
don't
worked
make
to
the
as
product
many
better.
effects practical
Not
as
all
they
the time.
could. The effects
Not
were
all the
headed
time.
by David Leroy Anderson at AFX Studio, which also did the effects for Pet Sematary back when the company was run by David's dad, Lance. Lance was around to help out for Cabin, as was David's wife, Heather Langenkamp Anderson, who, of course,
What?
was Nancy freaking Thompson.
Holy
in the
shit!
Nightmare on Elm Street series. She's also pretty
That's
good.
awesome!
With I must say. The Andersons only had 6 to 8 weeks to make all these impressive monster effects.
Werewolves,
and they probably
like,
wouldn't have been able to
I don't know
do
if it's just
it
me, but
without Warner
like
Brothers.
I've tried to make a werewolf before. Like in college, I had to do a graphic design class assignment.
Yeah,
where I picked taking my buddy's dog and like taking photos of him from different angles and stuff. You know, he thought it was funny because, you know, his dog, he could like kind of like poof his face and then go like this, and his dog's lips would go back and look like he was snarling at you, but he was just the friendliest fucking dog ever.
Yeah.
So I was like, can I get like some pictures and get you to do like the little face poof thing where he pull his lips back and he looks like he's being an asshole to you? And he's like, yeah, dude, we can do that. And so like I took all those pictures and I tried to make him into a werewolf in Photoshop. It is really hard to make a werewolf look good.
Yeah.
In my opinion. So like the fact that they had a really good ass looking werewolf in this too.
Yes,
also
they did.
Impresses me.
Like a terrifying werewolf.
Yeah,
terrifying.
It's
Most of the
really
creatures
hard
in
to
this
get a werewolf
are
to look
terrifying.
intimidating and not either fake or just fucking stupid.
Yeah, most of the creatures in this are very terrifying, and they did a great job with them.
Giving them a 6,000 square foot workshop in Burbank to use.
Damn.
There, they worked with a crew of about 60 that included mold makers, illustrators, sculptors, you name it, to build as many, quote, non-humanoidal forms that they could come up with and ship them from LA to Vancouver. It was a mammoth undertaking that Dave Anderson thinks is unlikely to be repeated.
It'll never happen again. It'll never happen in this town again. This was like under one roof bringing together 10 small shops.
Then, when they were finally on set in Canada, they used over 200 gallons of blood for the film. Because boy, does Drew Goddard like it bloody.
Hey, Dave, we need a big bag of guts.
The carnage continues in security cam footage shown in a montage and on screens in the background of the control room. This mayhem,
It's so
without counting
great,
just a
man.
minute, was written into the script as a single sentence. There is chaos on every screen.
It's an easy movie. It
That's
all happens in one
fantastic.
story day.
I
One
didn't
big
even know
change,
that
and also I'm
either.
reading through the script, and all of a sudden, literally, there's chaos on every screen.
I can't say often enough what a terrible idea it was to write the line, there is chaos on every screen.
No, that was a
Just
fantastic
that one
idea.
sentence than anything else in the movie.
Well, you know what? I'm glad these kills were as difficult for them to shoot as they were for me and Zoran to count. But we did it! We came up with 19 visible victims. The most prominent among them, a woman shooting herself. There's also a dude getting killed by the molesty tree, a guy getting suffocated with a bag, one
Guy
dude
on fire.
thanks to those grody Grady gals, a man getting his face melted by mutant spit up, a woman and a man being eaten by zombies, a guy just lying there dead, 5 people tied up, doused in gasoline, and lit on fire by those strangers-like killers, 5 more people dead thanks to the sugar plum fairy girl who's dancing around their corpses, and finally, we see someone's severed pelvic bone held like a trophy by some goblins in
Holy
a golf cart.
shit.
The behind-the-scenes footage
Just
of that
remember
last one is
McGoblins.
great, by the way. Also impressive here is that the screens in the background weren't comped in during post-production. They actually shot all this footage and played it on the screens for real during production.
These screens, this is pretty incredible when they get all these going.
It's almost like when you go to like Crazy Eddie's or like
Channel, right?
Sears. Yeah.
This
It's
is
like
Crazy
Sears
Eddie's, yeah.
with decapitation, which was another title.
Very good.
As the technicians' attempts to maintain control go from bad to worse, a bat dragon thing scares Marty and Dana out of their hiding spot, and Marty naps himself a mutant headshot. But I'm not putting any of the monsters on the kill count. You can at least give me that, you ungrateful bastards. I will count this one
fine.
scientist who gets knocked through the wall by the bat dragon thing, and the security
Yeah, I don't
guard
think he'd
crawling
live through
away
that.
in the background.
Unless
there.
you're a
He's as
superhero.
good as dead. The
Yeah.
siblings make a judgment call to escape through the bat dragon's hole in the wall, and that decision leaves them livelier than 5 more employees who are killed in a lethal montage. The first is from a werewolf, the second's from a clown, the third is a dead background body, the fourth is this guard whose bullets don't do shit to stop the clown's stab attack, and the fifth, my favorite, is this dude who was
Unicorn.
stabbed to death by a unicorn. Fuck yeah! The main technicians find themselves fully breached, and Truman is the first to go down,
Scarecrows.
swarmed by a bunch of scary scarecrows who stab him all to hell until he activates a frickin' explosive and blows them all away. The explosion knocks Hadley silly, facility, and in his near-death delirium, he sees the most beautiful creature in the entire world crawling toward him.
Third best scene of the movie.
They're finally part of your world.
Oh, come on.
Yes.
Oh, come on.
These things are messy as all hell.
Yes.
Gotta love it. The merman, like many of the effects, was entirely practical, and is
Yeah.
Heather Langenkamp's favorite effect she's ever worked on, as she told me this year at Texas Frightmare.
I really liked it, just how simple and not over the top it was. It was perfect for where it was
The
playing.
blood out of the blowhole wasn't over the top?
I didn't think so.
Yeah, I guess not, compared to what it could have been. Looks like they only used the very end of this blood geyser in the movie, which, you know, was probably the right call.
Oh my god.
That's so sick.
That's wicked.
Sitterson opens a hatch to climb through, but Wendy's unable to join it on account of being a little tentacle-tied all of a sudden.
Cthulhu, no!
On his own and runs through the Aztec level from GoldenEye until he's stabbed in the gut by Dana! Dun dun dun! He realizes who she is and begs her to kill her brother before he slides down against the wall and dies. Come on, Dana, kill your brother. It was the man's dying wish. She and Marty
See why he did that little warning at the beginning.
The blood
Not a brother.
wall that represent them and all their
I'll make
friends.
mistakes though,
Can
James.
someone please tell them what the hell these mean and where the hell they are right now? Oh, good, Sigourney Weaver. Yeah, Ripley's the director, and she shows up to explain everything to the characters.
Hi, Ripley.
Because of course she is.
Across every different culture, she says, there is a ritual that requires 5 sacrificees. The whore, who has to die first, then the athlete, the scholar, and the fool, who all have to die, but in any kind of order, and finally, the virgin, who can live or die. That's you, Dana.
Me?
I'm not a virgin.
Virgin?
We take what
We
we
work
can
with
get.
what we have.
The director tells them that if this
Fair
ritual
enough.
fails, the ancient ones who used to rule the earth and who are actually hanging out just below them right now will return topside and fuck shit up. Like I keep saying, this premise could potentially explain almost any other horror movie you've ever seen. And while that may not be exactly what Goddard and Whedon intended, they did strive to write a script that was both rewarding to hardcore horror fans and accessible to people who had never seen a scary movie before.
I don't think you can set out to subvert a genre. I think you have to set out to embrace the genre and try to do something new. And at the end of the day, that's what we did with Cabin. We were just trying to make something new, and yet at the same time give honor to those that have come before us. And I'm very proud of that.
It also gave Goddard the chance to be a director for the first time, instead of just the screenwriter, who often doesn't get a lot of say on set. He didn't take that opportunity for granted.
I treated directing this film as though I will never be able to direct again, and approached it with that mentality. If I will never be able to direct again, let's get everything I've ever wanted to do in this one movie.
That's probably why he was so hands-on during production, down to showing that messy merman exactly how he should move. In my opinion, his work paid off. I think this movie's a masterpiece.
Hell yeah.
There are only
Me too,
8
dude.
minutes
Yeah.
left for
Good
Marty
job,
to
Drew.
die so the ritual can be fulfilled. And if it's not, every human being on Earth will be tortured and killed. It will be the literal end of the world. Marty's unfazed by the threat, but it looks like the director's words have worked on Dana. I mean, sorry bro, but you know how the song goes.
The whole world, Marty, is in your hands.
Before Dana can pull the trigger, a werewolf appears and noms on her shoulder. And I'm not sure if that was originally in the script or just added for Sigourney Weaver's sake, because apparently she was fucking pumped about that werewolf.
I've never seen anyone more excited about working with a werewolf than Sigourney Weaver. She would ask every day, is the werewolf going to be here? When is the werewolf showing up? Can I please get a picture taken with the werewolf?
I didn't know that either. That's fantastic.
Marty beats the director in a fight for the gun, which he then uses to shoot the werewolf away. The director doesn't give up on her mission, though, and she's super about to save the whole world when Patience Buckner appears and puts an axe in the back of her head. Oh yeah, that'll do it. And she definitely ain't coming back from wherever Marty kicks her down into. Marty takes a seat next to his critically injured sister, and the two of them have a heart-to-heart.
I'm so sorry I almost shot you.
I'm sorry I let you get attacked by a werewolf and then into the world.
And I'ma just add these two to the count right now as they sit there and share a last J, because they about to go out, courtesy
Wait.
of this movie's
There's
ultimate
more.
villain.
Wait. Are you going to count it, James?
Then, yeah man, as the siblings hold hands, the world around them begins to fall apart, and the movie ends with a giant hand reaching out of the earth to begin enacting horrors unknown. This final shot, in keeping with the spirit of the movie, was done with as many practical effects as possible. A team at Grant McEwen Design built miniature trees using a whole bunch of science I can't even begin to explain.
So we employed carbon fiber cores and then wrapped it with multiple layers of flexible polyethylene and polyurethane foam, and then skinned it with latex.
They filmed those trees falling in front of a blue screen, which they also did with dust and dirt particles that would be too difficult to render digitally.
Random kinetic motion of real three-dimensional moving objects is almost impossible to duplicate in a computer because computers work in mathematical curves and ellipses. Nature's not like that.
They then combined those blue screen shots with a crane shot of the woods in Vancouver and some digital additions like the cabin and obviously the hand to give us this memorable depiction of the end of the world. But I can't count the whole world on the kill count.
Oh, come on!
That's impossible for me to do. So let's see
do
how
the current world population and subtract whatever died from your thing from it.
Bong water, Marty.
Damn it.
That would have been a world record, literally.
Aside
the whole
from the
fucking
nearly
world
7
dies.
billion people who presumably died when the ancient
There you go. At least he gives them that. At least it's like an honorable mention.
From what I could tell, there were 8 women, 42 men, and 6 victims of indeterminate gender, giving us a mixed pie for the ancient ones to try.
But
goes down easier than a whole planet, I'll tell you what. With a runtime of 95 minutes, we had a kill on average every 1.7 minutes, and then the world ended. I'll give the golden chainsaw for coolest kill to the unicorn guy. I know Hadley being killed by a merman is great and all, but this dude was stabbed to death by a frickin' gosh darn unicorn. Are you kidding me? I love it, man. Dull machete for lamest kill will go to Sitterson, who got a single stab to the chest. Sit her down there.
It was actually kind of sad.
The Cabin in the Woods premiered in 2012.
Could have done it in so many cool ways. And he went out by a knife from a person.
Yeah.
I've got one more kill count left for you this year, because on New Year's Eve, we're tackling society. But until then, I'm James A. Janice. This has been the Kill Count. Thanks a lot for watching this Kill Count. I want to thank some patrons like Liam Foster, JLP Animations, Jackie Rosbach, Rick Axe, Corey Carson, and
literally one of my favorite movies.
Yeah,
really
it's one of mine
Cabin in the Woods, obviously, even though I'm not a big fan of Joss Whedon's other stuff. What do you think of Cabin? Is it
fair enough.
I love Joss Whedon's other stuff earlier on anyways.
Well, yeah.
I'm a big Buffy fan. I'm a huge Firefly fan.
Yeah.
First Avengers film fan, obviously. So the first Avengers movie is what made me be like, yeah, I'm kind of sold on the MCU at this point, despite not really giving two shits about them before that. So
that's fair enough. The whole thing with Joss Whedon is that he's had his ups and downs. I mean, the whole thing with Buffy the Vampire Slayer, people forget it actually was a movie first.
Yeah, I remember that.
I remembered watching the movie back when I was younger, and I'm like...
It did not star Sarah Michelle Gellar either.
No, it was Christy Swanson.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I'm still, like... I still have a bigger crush on her, on Christy Swanson than Sarah Michelle Gellar.
See, my crush was always on Allison Hannigan, so...
Oh, Allison Hannigan, yeah. Yeah, Allison Hannigan, yeah. And,
I love the geeky girls. So.
Yeah,
especially when they witchy.
Witchy woman.
So if you haven't seen Buffy the Vampire Slayer, sorry for the spoilers for like late season 2 or 3, whenever that happens. But.
Oh no, I'm sorry, I did the wrong song. I did Evil Woman by ELO, but instead I should have done Witchy Woman by the Eagles. Said woo witchy woman, see how high she flies.
But if you haven't watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer, just so you know, the girl who stuck a flute in her pussy in American Pie is a witch in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and her name is Willow.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Give her, at least say her fucking name. Willow. Willow, played by Allison Hannigan.
Well, Willow's awesome. So.
From How I Met Your Mother and American Pie, where she shoved the flute up her pussy. Yep. But you see, whenever Joss Whedon has fun with stuff like this, whenever he works with people he's had fun with, because he's Drew Goddard, James Gunn, a lot of these guys have worked with him in the past and have done really good work on their own and have come into their own as artists. I mean, James Gunn and the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise. James Gunn working on the on Slither. Which, did you ever see Slither?
Slither's bitching too.
Slither's also Slither is also a really awesome horror
It's
film.
got Nathan Fillion in it. How could it be bad?
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Oh, by the way, forgot to mention it during the reaction of this. The one film that they mentioned, it's like, and the reason why we failed that one year was because of the chem department. And do you know what that movie was?
Mm-mm.
The Faculty.
What?
Did you ever seen The Faculty?
Yeah. They
failed because none of the 5 members died. The athlete, the stoner, the whore, or the scholar. None of them died.
What's the reference with the chem department though? Like the name?
Because what killed the monster in The Faculty?
I can't remember right now.
It was the caffeine pills. The caffeine pills stabbed her in the eye and killed the monster before the monster could kill any of the kids.
I forgot about that. That is fucking crazy.
I didn't realize it at first, but then I was just like, the chem department. None of the main heroes died, and it got me thinking, what horror movies have I seen?
The chemical department.
Yeah.
Because for some reason my head went to Kim, like Kim, like they were saying a woman's name.
No. The chemical department. Kim.
And I thought they were ranting about something from Japan or something, but the chemical department. Yeah, dude, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy.
I thought back on it, and I'm like...
Faculty,
I'm just like, is that a reference to, like, The Faculty? Because none of the heroes died in that film?
Could be.
And
that's a fantastic movie, too, though.
It is good. But lo and behold, I went back and I looked at the references that were made. Drew Goddard and Joss Whedon confirmed, and they confirmed, yes, The Faculty is, in fact, the one kerfluffle that the chem department caused.
That's badass.
And I was just like, holy hell!
Yeah.
I called it! I knew it!
That's awesome.
I was so happy.
I thought you were talking about something in Japanese.
No.
But yeah, obviously the reference to, like, Japan never fails is, like, most of the shit that Japan comes up with horror-wise, there's no fucking defense against.
No, there isn't.
That's why I talk about The Grudge.
Yeah,
The Grudge terrifies me. Once you set foot in the doorway to that house, you're fucking dead.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do about it.
Doesn't matter if you burn it down.
As far as I know, you're fucked.
Yeah. There is no way to get around it.
And that's why they would be a really good, like, the only thing is like, if they have the same, like, requirements over in Japan for their ritual, they have to kill people in a certain order. I could see, like, a Japanese, like, entity, like, being indiscriminately just wiping out, like, fucking everybody.
Yeah, because do you really think that the people running it in Japan are going to be able to stop an unstoppable entity like the freaking Grudge? No. I don't think so. I think they have to make sure it's like, okay, call this person up and tell them that they have to go into the house to find this envelope or something like that. They go into the house. That person goes into the house. It's like, okay, make sure no one else goes into the house. Make sure, like, they're preoccupied with other things. It's like, okay, oh crap, that one police officer's on his way there. I know. Have his wife have a car crash. Go, do it! And then has a car crash. It's like Officer Hirohito, your wife has been in a car accident. We need you to come down to the hospital. I'll be right there. And then they go, and then they're saved from the house until the first person dies. Yeah, I could see that. That could actually work, because there's a lot of ways you could formulate how this all could work. And I'm glad that they went through such intricacies and such efforts with this kill count, The Cabin in the Woods. I love this movie. I love it. It's one of my favorites of all time.
It's a great idea.
Yeah,
and
it is.
Ends fantastically darkly and, like, everything, and it just has
everybody dies.
So much love and care put into it. It's fucking great.
Everybody
One
dies
of the
at the
also
end.
the greatest things about this movie is just, like, whether it be on purpose or just from other factors, this film has been out for how long now? Like, since 2012.
2012.
This film has been out for 7 years now and has still not been besmirched by a shitty sequel.
I don't think it ever will be.
Despite the potential for so many different things they could do with it. They ended it in a way that was specifically like, fuck you, that's what we had to say, and we don't need a sequel. Because they didn't.
Yeah.
Like, it was
fantastic
the way it was.
It doesn't have to have a sequel.
I appreciate them not being like, oh, we'll set it up for a sequel, like every horror movie does. Despite tributing in every horror movie always is like, you know, oh yeah, I'm glad we finally got it. It sucks that all our friends died except for us too, you know. Bum, 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 final
Nothing.
scene, and the monster's
Nobody.
still there, you know.
Yeah,
everybody does that in every horror movie, and they were just like, "No, fuck you, destroy the whole
monster,
Earth. We ain't doing a sequel to this."
The monster hand at the end's kind of like the sequel Nazi, kind of like the soup Nazi from Seinfeld.
Like, no sequel.
Boom!
Yeah, fucking fantastic.
I love it.
And that's why it's still on my like top 5 of all time list.
Yeah,
it's
up there.
Movie.
It's up there. All right, well, we got to end this because this video that we are currently recording now is an hour long. We're about to cross the hour threshold.
Also, I've taken several shots and I need a rest from a break. So you know,
1 hour. My voice cracked a little bit there. 1 hour. So again, everybody, thank you all very much for tuning into this, and thank you very much to Dead Meat. If you all haven't checked out Dead Meat, you need to do it right frickin' now. Go down there in the description. Check out James's channel. He has a litany, a massive amount of kill counts out there. And if there's a movie out there you want to watch a kill count to and know some awesome little factoids behind the scenes with everything like that, then check it out right now. But for right now, everybody, that's going to do it for us. If you want to support us in any way, there's a subscribe button right there, a little bell you ring to stay notified, a little thumbs up right below the video. That'll help us out a lot. And I guess until next time, signing off, I'm Nate.
I'm Nick. If you're still here right now, rock on.
Yeah, and we will see you all in the next one, everybody. Peace out.